The Roberto Clemente story. Every parent should teach their kids baseball's greatest lesson. Some baseball players leave behind statistics. Roberto Clemente left behind something far greater. A blueprint for how to live. This is the story I told my son when he asked me what a real hero looks like. And it is the story every parent should teach their children. Because Roberto Clemente did not just play baseball with heart. He lived his entire life that way. Chapter 1. The Boy from Carolina. Before he became a legend, Roberto Clemente was just a boy from Carolina, Puerto Rico. A kid who learned to play baseball with a stick and a ball made of rags. His family did not have much. His father cut sugar cane. His mother ran a small grocery, but what they lacked in money, they made up for in values. Roberto's mother, Luisa, taught him something that would shape his entire life. If you have the chance to help someone, you help them, no matter what. That lesson stayed with him. Through the sandlots of Puerto Rico, through the minor leagues, where he faced racism and isolation. Through the majors where Latin players were told to stay quiet, play hard, and be grateful. But Roberto Clemente refused to stay quiet. He did not just want to be great. He wanted to open doors for every player who looked like him, every kid who spoke Spanish, every young man who would been told he did not belong. And that mission, that purpose, became bigger than baseball. Chapter 2. The Fight for Respect. By the 1960s, Roberto Clemente was one of the best players in baseball. 12-time All-Star, 12 Gold Gloves. A cannon for an arm that turned routine singles into legendary outs. But respect, that came slowly. The media mocked his accent. Reporters misspelled his name. Sports writers questioned his toughness when he sat out with injuries. And through it all, Clemente kept his dignity. He did not lash out. He did not quit. He simply played harder. He let his glove do the talking. He let his bat speak for him. And when he finally got the chance to shine on the biggest stage, the 1971 World Series, he did not just perform. He dominated. Batting .414, hitting safely in all 7 games, playing defense that left announcers speechless. And when it was over, when the Pirates were champions, Roberto Clemente stood in front of the cameras and did something no one had done before. He spoke in Spanish. To his parents, to his people, to every Latin kid watching who needed to know. You belong here too. That moment changed baseball. Chapter 3. The Man Who Could Not Look Away. Roberto Clemente's greatest legacy was not built on a baseball field. It was built in the way he saw the world. He could not look away from suffering. When he traveled with the Pirates, he visited children's hospitals. He paid for surgeries out of his own pocket. He brought food to families who had nothing. And he did it quietly. No cameras, no press releases. Just a man who believed that greatness meant giving. Then came December 23, 1972. A massive earthquake devastated Managua, Nicaragua. Thousands were dead. Tens of thousands were injured. Entire neighborhoods were flattened. Roberto Clemente heard the news and immediately organized relief efforts. He collected food, medicine, clothing. Anything that could help. But then he learned something that broke his heart. The supplies were not reaching the people. Corrupt officials were stealing them, the very people he was trying to save for being abandoned again. So Roberto made a decision. I will go myself. His wife, Vera, begged him not to. It was New Year's Eve. The plane was old, overloaded. The weather was terrible. But Roberto Clemente looked at her and said, "If I go, they will not steal the supplies. They will know the world is watching." and he boarded that plane. Chapter 4. The Final Flight. The plane took off just after 9 p.m. on New Year's Eve. It barely made it a mile. Engine failure. The aircraft banked hard left, and then it disappeared into the dark waters of the Atlantic. Search crews found debris. They found wreckage. But they never found Roberto Clemente. At just 38 years old, one of baseball's greatest players was gone. The world mourned. Puerto Rico shut down. Major League Baseball held moments of silence across the country. And the Hall of Fame did something unprecedented. They waived the 5-year waiting period and inducted him immediately. But the greatest tribute, it came from the people he tried to save. Nicaraguan families who received aid because of him. Latin players who walked through doors he opened. Children who learned that heroes do not wear capes. They wear compassion. Chapter 5. Coach Wiz's Take, the Lesson of a Lifetime. I told this story to my son on a quiet evening after one of his games. He had a great night, 2 hits, a stolen base, played solid defense. He was feeling pretty good about himself, and I said, "Let me tell you about Roberto Clemente." I told him about the 3,000 hits, the Gold Gloves, the World Series MVP. But then I told him about the plane. And my son got quiet. He looked at me and said, "Dad, why would he do that? He had everything." And that is when I knew this was the moment. I said, "Son, Roberto Clemente understood something most people never learn. Greatness is not what you achieve, it is what you are willing to give." He did not get on that plane because he had to. He got on it because he could not live with himself if he did not. That is character, that is courage, that is what it means to be a man. Now my son is coaching his daughter, and I have heard him tell her about Clemente. Not about the stats, about the sacrifice. Because that is the lesson that matters. Baseball teaches us how to win and lose, but Roberto Clemente taught us how to live. Chapter 6. Coach Wiz's Thoughts. What we owe our kids. As a father, I think about legacy a lot. What am I teaching my son? What is he teaching his daughter? What are we passing down that actually matters? And here is what I have learned. Our kids do not need us to be perfect. They need us to show them what is worth fighting for. Roberto Clemente fought for respect. He fought for dignity. He fought for people who could not fight for themselves. And in the end, he gave his life doing it. That is not a tragedy. That is a triumph. Because his story did not end on New Year's Eve, 1972. It lives on every time a parent teaches their child to stand up for what is right. Every time a coach tells a young player that character matters more than talent. Every time someone with power uses it to lift someone without it. Roberto Clemente's legacy is not in Cooperstown. It is in the hearts of everyone who refuses to look away from suffering. And that is the story every parent should teach. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of what truly matters, subscribe to Fathers of the Diamond. Here, we honor the players who taught us more than baseball. We share the stories that shape character. We pass down the lessons that build legacies. Because Roberto Clemente showed us that the greatest victories are not on the scoreboard. They are in the lives we touch, the doors we open, the people we refuse to forget. That is the game worth playing. That is the legacy worth leaving. Welcome home. Thanks for viewing. Share our channel. Leave us a comment. Tell us a baseball memory you would like us to feature.